Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode for AT Haynes House Yarns. I am Terry and welcome to my world. So this is an all new venture for me. I'm very excited about it. I have wanted to do this for a really long time, so I'm really excited about actually getting to do it. And if you want to follow along while I'm doing this, I'll drop the links in below, but subscribe to this YouTube channel. My Instagram page is @haynes.house.yarns. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? @haynes.house.yarns. So subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Instagram. That'll be another place where you can see all this. And I also have a Facebook page at Haynes House Yarn. So in order to get this started, I think I should introduce the business. So it's called AT Haynes House Yarn, and that name has meaning, as you will see later on throughout the rest of this video. Meaning is a lot for us. So my last name is Haynes. I'm Terry Haynes, and my husband is Brian Haynes. So if you combine our initials, it's AT Haynes, and then AT Haynes House. So our house is this very loud, very boisterous, very creative, very energetic place. And it has always been our safe place. It's always been a place where we could go and just kind of relax. So I thought, what better name for the business than AT Haynes House, because everything happens at Haynes House. So that's a little bit about how I decided to name this business. And then we're going to go into story time. So story time is the time where I tell you about the yarns that are going to be available in the updates. But the reason why I call it story time is my yarn colorway names have a story to them. All of them have a story to them because I'm a storyteller. So in my other life, I'm a writer. And what better way to bring that storytelling into this craft than to name the yarn. So now it's time for the shop updates. I'll show you the colors that are going to be available tomorrow in the shop, at my Etsy shop, which is also at Haynes House. I'll drop the link. And so you can snag these things up, and I've got a couple of other things that are going to be in the shop that aren't yarn. So we'll start with the first color that we made at Haynes House. So let's talk a little bit about who AT Haynes House is. So it's my husband and I. We have 3 children. My daughter Jasmine, who is my assistant in this business when she is not working. I have a son, D'Artagnan. Bad joke that went over too well. Maybe I'll tell that story in a different time. And I have my youngest son named Emmanuel. So 2 boys, 1 girl, lots of fun, lots of fun. So one thing that we constantly heard out of Jasmine during our, them growing up was, get out of my room. My sons would go in and talk to her and bother her and tell her funny things and show her funny videos. And the response normally was, get out of my room. So here is get out of my room. So the colorway starts light and it goes to dark, and it has purple specks on it, if you can see that. So this was Jasmine's idea of what she felt when she was yelling at the boys to get out of my room. So that's the first colorway. The second colorway has gone through a couple of versions, but I think I like this one. So my sons would often get cash when they were younger, gifts, birthday cash, Christmas cash, but they're gamers. So they're always looking to add their cash into a format that they could spend it online. So I became that conversion vehicle. So they would bring me the cash, and they both had, youth credit cards where they could charge a certain amount. They would bring me the cash and I would convert it. So when they wanted me to convert cash, my name was Mom Bank. So this is Mom Bank. So It is green for the money, and then red for normally I would have to add money to whatever they were asking me for, and purple, which is a color I really love. So this is Mom Babe. The next color is named after one of my best friends. Her name is Kim, and Kim is this feisty little firecracker of a person. And so we started saying Kim Boom. So this is Kim Boom. There it is. It's a little red, a little orange. I love it, and it perfectly fits her. The next colorway in the shop is 2 Dozen Peach Roses. So the story behind 2 Dozen Peach Roses is the first year my husband and I were married, he bought me 2 dozen peach roses for our anniversary. The problem is I don't like roses. I don't like cut flowers. I would prefer a plant, but if not a plant, I would prefer a plant over flowers. And that did not go over well. Luckily, I had enough grace to apologize to him about that. But he did buy me 2 dozen peach roses. So this is 2 dozen peach roses. So we've got a little green, we've got a little orange, we've got a little red speckle in there. So this saturation is for people who really like roses. And if you really kind of like low key, you really don't like no roses, this will be available in the shop also for sale. Same concept, except you don't like roses. Then, new colorway, the next colorway is This Is How We Roll. So the story behind This Is How We Roll is one night, my youngest son was sitting at the table talking smack, trying to be hard, and he said, this is how we roll. And he choked on his dinner. So it just turned into like this very hilarious moment of him trying to be like hard and then choking on his food. So this is How We Roll. It's a very warm, rich cinnamon color that I love. So this is How We Roll. All of these colors will be available in the shop on Friday morning. So go ahead and look for the Etsy shop and purchase them. But as I said before, fun things happen at Haynes House. So another thing that happens at Haynes House, and I have to explain me and my husband because we're a little weird. We love to craft. Oh my goodness, we love to make stuff. We like to cook. We like to bake. We both knit. We both crochet. We both do bead jewelry. We both make stitch markers. I often say we've never met a craft that we didn't like. Like, we love to craft. So the two of us in a yarn store is its own budget. Like, it's a real thing. Like, we have to really like stop and think, do you need anything? Luckily, he's the saving grace because he's a monogamous knitter most of the time. He sometimes, if it's a long project, he will knit 2 at a time. But for the most part, he is a monogamous knitter, and he's a knitter who doesn't like to buy yarn just to be buying yarn. He likes to have a project assigned. I, on the other hand, will touch it all and buy it all. So we kind of balance each other out in that. But it could be a grip. The two of us in a craft store, period. Much less a yarn store. So we made a vow that we were not going to pick up any more expensive crafts because, knitting was pretty much up there. We were like, oh my gosh, we're spending all this money. Then he took a quilting class and fell in love with quilting. I really do think that I need to keep my eye on his new sewing machine because I feel like it is really competing with my quality time. But he took a sewing class. He got a sewing machine. He has been sewing like crazy. And so we went on a vacation. Actually, it was our anniversary trip. Every year we go on a trip somewhere for our anniversary. So we went to the Outer Banks, one of my favorite places to go. I am a beach girl. And we went to a fabric shop in near where we were staying. So we walked in, and hanging on the wall is this bag and the pattern for this bag. And I have a bag problem. I have a huge bag problem. I have so many bags that there's no way I could use them all. Like and I gave a bunch away too. Like I have too many bags. But here is this bag like, and I was just like, I want that bag. So I took it down off the shelf and said, make this for me. And he said, no, you have a bag problem. And I was like, look, I know, but I want you to make this bag. So after much that in my big brown eyes, he agreed to make me the bag. So that just turned into a thing of making bags. So, he had lots of scrap fabric around. He started playing around with different shapes. So there will be bags in the shop along with the yarn. So I want to show you one of them that is going to be in the shop. Isn't this the most adorable little bag that you've ever seen? This is great for a travel project. You got a pair of socks here. Let me demonstrate this bag. Boom. Your little double point needles. Adorbs. Isn't this adorable? I love this bag. Okay, but here's the problem with the bag problem. I want every bag he makes. So y'all pray for me because I can't have them all, but I do want them all. So this in multiple colors, this band across the top, there'll be different colors, will be in the shop. So you can get you a project and you can get a bag to go with it. So bag problem. So that's all the shop updates. As of right now, I am really not sure how frequent shop updates will happen. As in introducing new colors. I have been playing for months. I have been playing with colors and names and stories. So we will see how this goes after this, of how much I will update the shop. But come Friday, everything I showed you will be in the shop. So what's going on with me? I am not a monogamous knitter, and I never have been. I am knitting a couple of projects right now, which I'll show you one that I really am completely and totally excited about. But I will show you one. But another thing that my husband and I do on a regular basis is we have knit-alongs because we both knit. So normally his birthday, my birthday, New Year's, our anniversary, we will pick a project and knit together. Sometimes it's shawls, sometimes it's cows, whatever we manage to agree on. So one of the fun things about my relationship with my husband is we are at two different opposite ends of the poles. Whatever he likes, I don't like. Whatever I like, he doesn't like. So finding a pattern that we both like sometimes is the biggest challenge in the knit-along. So we did a New Year's knit-along together. And the pattern that we did was called Salt Point. I'll post a picture up of the pattern. But I'll post a picture up. I'll post a picture of the pattern up. But we both started at the same time. Now, let me say something about these knit-alongs. I lose every time. He'll give me a 2 weeks head start and I lose. The man knits like a machine and I can't stand him. And he knits continental and I can't stand him. So I lose every time. I lose. And okay, I can't, you know what? Let me own it. I can't blame him completely because I'm not a monogamous knitter. So if I was, maybe I would win. But I never win because I'm knitting 4 different things at once. He's knitting one thing, so he's blown through his, and I am still, lagging behind. So here are our Salt Point cows that we made for our January knit-along. Aren't they nice? Look at that. So that one is mine, and this one is his. This is a little longer. I ran out of my main color earlier than he did. So that was our knit along, which is interesting because he's in a cow phase right now. Like everything is, I want to knit a cow. I want to knit a cow. I want to knit a cow. So great. Now, in his defense, socks and vests and sweaters and cows and hats and gloves is pretty much all, he a scarf. That's all his options. So, I give him his cow. I think he's knit like 3 or 4 cows. I always prefer cows, mainly because they keep my hands free. As you can see, I talk with my hands. So keeping something in place is always a good thing for me. I actually prefer to knit a cowl over a shawl. My least favorite thing to knit is socks. I'm sorry. I just lose my will to live on the second sock. It's just like, do I really want to live this way? Is this what I want to do with my life? So I prefer cows. And speaking of cows, the thing that I was cheating on my salt point was the young, scrappy, and cozy cow. I came across this pattern and was just like, oh my. This is such a fun knit. I cannot tell you how fun this thing is. So my husband and I got a chance to see Hamilton at the Kennedy Center. It was amazing. So we listened to the soundtrack probably for months before we actually saw it. Maybe years. We listened to the soundtrack for years before we actually got to see the show. And let me tell you, the soundtrack and the show are two totally different things. Like, adding the visual to the music, and just the ingenuity of it, the music, the lyrics, I love it. So the problem is, Hamilton music is probably the biggest earworm I have ever come across in my life. And I'm a singer, so I know lots of music. The Hamilton soundtrack lives and plays in your head 24/7. So I have been singing the music from Hamilton as I have been working on this, and I just can't. And then I made the mistake to actually like listen to the soundtrack while I was knitting it. Like, now it's really in my brain. I can't get it out. So this stitching on here says "look around." So look around, look around. So I've just been singing the songs from Hamilton. But if you ever get a chance to go see Hamilton, I strongly suggest that you do it. I don't suggest that you spend $700 on your tickets, but I do suggest that you put your name in a lottery somewhere and go see Hamilton. It is absolutely amazing. So, in the spirit of not being faithful to my projects, I'm about to start a new project. But it's for a good reason. So, February is Black History Month, and there is an Instagram challenge going around, or a contest going around, to knit a pattern from a Black designer for Black History Month. And I just think this is the neatest thing. One, mainly because of the signal boost that it gives Black designers during this month to just kind of embrace these designers. I think that is a fantastic thing. So the pattern that I'm going to do is Ravenhill, and I'll pop a picture up here of what it's going to look like, by Tammy Gore. What was funny is, as I looked, the person who's organizing this Black History Month knit along, they created a page on their website of different designers, Black designers. So I was going through each one and looking, and so when I came to Tammy's, I went to her page on Ravelry, and I noticed that I had already knit something from her, Imani. So I'll post a picture up here of my Imani that I made. And I was like, hey, why not? I like her design. I like the structure of her designs. I like the way she combines colors and the way she combines the shapes of her patterns. So Ravenhill is getting cast on shortly. I think they look great together. These two yarns have been living in my stash for a really long time. So I'm kind of excited to kind of get them out. I have this weird, you know how you have your own weirdness and you don't realize that it's weird until somebody tells you it's weird? So I have this first in, first out principle in my head when it comes to my yarn. So my husband pointed out to me the other night while I was picking these colors, and I was like, well, this has been in my stash longer. He's like, what difference does it make? And I'm like, it matters to me. So sometimes when you talk outside your head, you realize how weird you sound. So Raven Point is going to be on the needles. Hopefully by the time the next update happens, I will be able to show you some progress with that. So that's all I have for this episode. Remember, subscribe to this YouTube channel. My Instagram page is at Haynes.house.yarns. I do have a Facebook page, at Haynes House Yarn, and I have a Ravelry group at Haynes House Yarn. So follow me everywhere so you can keep updated. I am so excited about this. I am looking forward to making lots and lots and lots of new friends because I love people a lot. And see you next time.